This is Fireman Ed, and you're listening to Jets Commute, Monday through Friday from 8 to 10 a.m. Jet fans, let's rock MetLife Stadium this year. J-E-T-S, Jets, Jets, Jets. Go Jets!
Good morning. You can hear me? If you guys can hear me, please thumbs up. Hey, office, can you hear me?
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good, man. Just give me a second. I'm walking somewhere.
Do your thing, brother. No worries.
We'll get into Rodgers today because now people are flipping the script. You know, they want him back. You know, I want him back, but we'll get into all that.
The Jets are certainly keeping it interesting on the spaces market. That's for sure.
Yep. All right, I'm back. June, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
All right.
What's good, June?
What's going on in office?
Sorry, it's a little, I think a lot of people are doing stuff today. So it is what it is. So, June, I put out a thing yesterday about, Rogers and everything, and it seems like Jeff fans have turned now and they want him back for the most part. But what's the sense? I know you want to tear it down, but,
No,
that's not,
no.
I'm not saying like that in a bad way, but, with the cap ramifications and all that, what do you think, should go on?
See, my thing is this. And once again, it's just my opinion. It's at some point you're gonna have to get a new coach in here, and if we do end up, I'm giving you both spectrums. If we do make the playoffs, that may cause Woody to sit there and extend Albrecht as a head coach. So then we got to go through with this undisciplined team again for next year. My thing was, at least if we do bottom out, you get a chance to clean house and start everything fresh all over again. And I know some fans might not want to do that, but the whole Band-Aid thing, I'm not with the Band-Aid thing because at some point you're gonna have to take the Band-Aid off. You get what I'm saying? I'm just not into that. Pete,
Can you hear me?
I got you now.
I just got back in my car. 1 second. I didn't hear what you were saying. What was that?
Yeah, I just said a mouthful.
My bad.
I was saying that. No, I was just saying that everything's for the most part have had, over the past few years has been like a little like a band-aid fix, man. And eventually you will have to pull the band-aid off. So my fear is that if we somehow stumble into the playoffs and he's bringing back everybody next year, and let's face it, with this coaching staff, we can't win the Super Bowl with this coaching staff. It's not going to happen. So why not just
Yeah, but they
do
just they
things
just
the
tore it
correct way?
down 4 years ago. They did it when
Yeah,
Salah
but
first started. So I'm not
they
down for
tore
that.
it down.
I'm not down for that.
But no, I get what you're saying, but they tore it down. But the mistake that they made was hiring the wrong
Yeah,
coach.
and the draft pick too, June. They messed up.
Yeah, well, yeah. So if that's the case, then I guess you could sit there and say that they tore it down, but they gave the job to the wrong GM, and then he in fact hired the wrong coach. So my whole thing is, if you tear it down the right way and hire the right people, you don't have to go through this
Yeah, but
4 years later,
what if you
5 years
don't do
later.
it and they jet again and then do the same thing? They blew the pick. They blew Sanchez. They blew freaking Geno Smith. They blew Sam Darnold. Pause. They blew Zach
And,
Wilson. You know,
and
they
all
blew
and
all
all
these
four of you,
picks.
all four quarterbacks you named got thrown right into the fire instead of sitting down learning behind a veteran. All four quarterbacks just got thrown right to the fire. Two of those said quarterbacks right now are doing pretty good because the other places that they went, they sat and they learned. You just can't. Every quarterback can't just get thrown into the fire. Sometimes you just got to sit down, and watch, become a student of the game, especially at quarterback. What's going on, office?
Those are good points, June, because you know who's the first guy that comes to mind that's going to basically, in a sense, have to have been an NFL starter, but he's going to kind of have to sit back a little bit some way or another if he wants his career to continue. It would be Bryce Young. I mean, he was dealt a
Yes,
tough hand, right?
yes,
And
yes,
I think to your points about the Jets, from my observations and listening, right? I just think the Jets have a lot more pieces to the puzzle to address than they were hoping to, right? Like, just say they were maybe thinking, just in general numbers to be quick, say you anticipate a third of your team needing to be looked at, right? In my humble opinion, it's more like two-thirds now, unfortunately, because, like Petey said, you had brought in a GM, etc., and those pieces just are not correlating with their expectations. I mean, there's nothing wrong with pointing that out, of course, right? Like I'm with you there, man. They got a
yeah.
lot of moves to make, dude. I don't know if it's maybe it's not
All
really.
right, so let me ask you: are the Jets in worse shape than the Saints right now? The answer is hell no. They're not.
Not yet, because they just lost their coach. You've all had at least a couple weeks to marinate and work through some of the. You see what I'm saying? Like it's going to get worse for them.
Yeah,
Hmm.
they got to. They got to. Who's their young
Yeah.
guys to build around? June. Let's talk about that.
But I mean, I'm not comparing the Jets to the Saints. See, I'm not even thinking about the Saints. I'm just worried
Well, I'm
about
just saying. I don't think
mentally.
it's as bad as people. I get it. That they're not where they're supposed to be, but to start all over again, no,
Justin, what
no.
up? What's good? Good morning, brother.
Yo, good morning. What's up? Yo, man, listen. My mom, when I used to get in trouble as a little kid, I would be like, yo, but he did, she did. My mom used to tell me, I don't give a fuck about what anybody else did. I care about what you did. And I
Right.
think that's what you got to take with the Jets. Who cares about the Saints? Who cares about any other
There
team,
you
bro?
go.
It's
That's
about what
me.
the
No, I,
Jets
I
are
I
doing.
understand that. I
So
understand that.
listen
But I
and
just
listen, man. Like you got it. Like, bro, I get that you can keep tearing it down and you might not get it right, but there's always a bigger chance if you getting it right in a tear down than it is
Yes.
putting a band-aid
Yes.
consistently on a bad
Yes.
team.
Yes. Yes. And
so
that's where
wait.
I'm at with it.
So if everybody's talking about, oh well, this isn't a highly graded quarterback room, and all that, then
And that's
what?
and that's fine, bro. Like
Right.
sometimes there's gonna be anomalies, and you have to do what you got to do to get to the correct quarterback class. Maybe you do bring Rodgers back for a year, but even with bringing him back for a year, you still have to start the process of
Yes, I
rebuilding
agree
and
with
tearing it
that.
down.
I agree
Right?
with that. But Justin, they have they have young pieces that they could build around. Listen, people want Quinn and Williams and Sauce gone, both of them. To me, you got to keep one of those guys and
Yeah, no,
build
you
around one of
keep the
those guys.
you
And
keep the
Garrett
right
Wilson.
players. Like you'll keep the right players. Um, like we did, we kept the right players that wanted to be here, and we got rid of the players that didn't want to be here. We traded away Sammy Watkins and our best corner, and Ronald Darby. Like for all intents and purposes, we tore it down. We had a bad year because we had to wait for Cap, but we got our QB right, and we Josh Allen was not supposed to be the starter that season. He was the starter because of injury. Then he got injured himself, and he had a chance to sit behind Derek Anderson. And when he came back healthy, he was better for it. And now you saw the progression of Josh Allen. Like you at some point you gotta like say we can't just keep putting a band-aid on this shit, bro. And I get you guys have Rodgers, I get you have Tyron Smith, like you have Brees Hall, you have a bunch of very good football players, but do you have a very good football team? Do you have a very good football organization? You know what
No.
I'm saying?
Right.
Like it's you have to kind of just look at it from that perspective. The Bills had a bunch of talent over the years, the 17-year drought. We've had a hell of a lot of talent, but we didn't have a good team. We didn't have good teams at the end of the day. So as much as it's annoying to see your team constantly restarting, drafting rookie QBs, and blundering that opportunity, you have to get the right people in there to do the job. And by doing that, you have to tear it down and you have to give them some assets that are appealing to them.
Yeah. Let's
You
see.
know, and you have to give them a cap some like a decent amount of cap space or something that can be solved
Yeah.
where they could put their
So the
fingerprint on
Jets
it.
have 50 million next year. You could
Yeah.
still make
So
Think about
moves.
it. even if they said we're going to stick with Rodgers and we're going to pursue Jordan Travis as the next starter, at least you would have something in the basket. You know what I mean? And by the way, sir, my hat's off to your mother. Super
Thank
good
you.
mom, man. Awesome.
Yeah, yeah, she's great. Thank you.
Yeah, man. So look, see, Justice, he sees exactly what I'm saying there, Petey. You gotta keep. I mean, are you just gonna you gonna are you gonna like not play foot? Like you're just not gonna use the Jets. In other words, if you're Woody and you keep tearing it down, and you gotta keep doing it until you get it right. You have to. And now look, am I wishing the Jets bottom out? No. As long as the Jets win, I'm gonna keep cheering. Of course, that's my team. But I'm just telling you how I feel. Long suffering. What's up, brother?
What's up, buddy? Good morning. I'm
Good morning.
listening, and I don't think we need to tear the whole team down. We do have a lot of young players in place. What we need to do is get the right coaching staff in here and start getting a quarterback behind Rodgers to learn the system.
Right.
That's what I think. We have talent. We have three pieces of the offensive line, and you can draft one this year, and the defense is pretty solid. But
So wait. Let me ask you a question. So you say three pieces. So obviously you are in on AVT, right?
of course,
Now AVT is still a question mark.
yes,
This is
but
year what, 3, 4 for
right.
him?
But in years one and two prior to the injury, we all had him going into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, well, I mean, once again, that's being a Jet fan. We fall in love with our players like that, especially if we drafted them. Me, I don't look at things through green goggles anymore. I look at things as if I just look at the organization, like any other organization, and I
So
just say,
what
you
is a
know what?
tear down though? Is a tear down to you? Because I think the coaches they should get a new coaching staff. But
I, I mean,
my fear is Ulbrich and them because I'm not sucked in yet to the Jets. If they get to 5-6 at the bye, then okay, the home game against Seattle is a big game, but they have to win this week, and
Right.
if they don't,
But look
then
at
what?
the defense. We have McDonald. We got what's his name coming back? I forgot his name. Johnson.
Yep.
We
Well,
got that.
Hector, hold
We
on
have the
one sec.
William brothers. Yeah,
One sec. Yes, we. So the question is, if who do you build the team around? You build it around Garrett Wilson and the young guys,
exactly.
and do you trade Quinn and Williams?
I would, but I mean,
But that's the thing. You're not trading Quinnen and Sauce. They're not both going to get traded. I'm sorry. Another coach, I don't give a shit who it is. If nobody wants to come here, when people freaking look at the Jets and game plan, they fucking fear those two guys.
let,
Yeah. I
let, let,
don't think you can get rid of Quinn Williams because if you do, that defense goes to the shits.
let
We
me
have
ask you a
nothing
question.
else in the middle.
Let me ask the room a question. Uh, um, Quentin Williams. Career. Now we're not talking about this year. We're not talking about last year. We talking about totality. His career so far as a Jet. Would you say it's average, above average, or below average? His
Uh,
career,
I'd give him a
an average.
I'd give him a B.
You'd give him
Yes,
you give
based
him a
on
B.
because I'm throwing in the other year that he had the career year, so that
The
ups
career
everything.
now Pete, the career year happened to be his contract year. So everything else besides his contract year has been average at best.
I would
Okay, so
say,
then what? So then June, real quick, Hector, why does people
yep.
like Brian Baldinger and all these guys, say how unblockable the guy is? Why do they
You
talk
watched
about
him.
that? I'm
You
just
watched it.
saying. I'm just June. I'm just saying. A couple of weeks ago against Buffalo or whoever it was, when I saw it, it looked like he wasn't. He didn't have any push in his legs.
Okay, so now out of 9 games, you've seen Quentin Williams perform above average over the last two. Well, let's just say 3 games, 2 or 3 games. So that's 6 games that he disappeared, where he wasn't being double teamed. I've seen him on all 22 getting thrown around. Actually, to be honest with you.
He needs
So
that big run stuffer next to him. And my answer to that is
Hey man, break it.
put him on the trade block today. See how long he lasts.
Look, I think like the philosophy that I like, you always build your team from the trenches, right?
right, right.
So you have to establish the trenches. If you have players that you like that dominate the trenches, then you keep those guys and you start building around those guys, right? I can't really speak on Quentin Williams because I don't watch every Jets game, so I can't say if he's been playing at a high level this season or not. So don't forgive my ignorance. But you want to build from the trenches. If you control the trenches in most games, no matter
Yes,
like the talent level, most of the time you're gonna win those games,
right.
right? Even if there's a discrepancy in talent level compared to one from one team to the other. So establish the trenches first.
One
Okay,
last
so look, my next question to the room: do you believe Quentin Williams is? What do you think he's at his position? Is he the best? Is he the second best? Where is he?
I think,
As far as defensive
Yes.
tackles,
yeah, I think Chris Jones is the best
I-
for sure.
yeah.
yeah, he's in he's in the top five.
One thing if I could say, the problem
Lower five though, June, to be fair.
I think they need to play him more. I hate this rotation that they have where let's say we're trying to close out the game and you look and they got Quinton on the sidelines and then they bring him in when the other team crosses the 50 and gets to the 40. I don't get this coaching staff.
Mm, that's the other thing.
To CB, jump in.
Oh no, y'all can keep going because when I change the subject, I'm just gonna ask Shun who his top five corners are.
Oh gosh, we're revisiting this from last.
I'm with CB with this one.
Well,
But
that's
I think,
but that's the thing though. If we're building a team, like I think we have the foundational pieces.
I
and that's
agree.
cool.
I
But keep
do.
like I'm not saying get rid of the foundational pieces, but you also have a bunch of pieces that are up there in age, right? And just that aren't
hmm
pulling their own weight. Um,
hmm
so you can't keep those guys in the rebuild.
So who's all right? Right. So who's up there in age? It's Tyron Smith. Is
Rogers
it
is
Morgan
Morgan
Moses?
Moses.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right. So
C.J.
Rogers
Mosley
isn't pulling his
CJ
weight.
Mosley for real, for sure.
Yes, Mosley for sure.
I don't think your safety room was extremely talented, so of course
at
you would want to
all.
address that.
I actually think Jalen Mills is
He,
playing
he
good,
is.
Agree.
He's been.
but he's a journeyman at this point. So you need a long term answer
Right,
there.
right.
I don't think it's as bad as people think.
No, I mean
It's the way the Jets
it's
started off
not
this
bad, but
year.
even who's the defensive tackle you signed next to Quentin this year? Who's that?
Kinlaw.
Kinlaw.
Yeah, even Kinlaw, bro. Like,
So does it? All right. Let me ask you, CB. Let me change the subject here, real. Are you here, CB?
Yeah, I'm here, Petey.
You know he's
Was it a mistake? Was it a mistake not bringing Bryce Huff back now?
No, I stand on that. It wasn't a mistake.
no at all. I would say the same thing. No.
I mean, he's on the trade block. I saw it. Unless that's a.
No, if anything,
I
it's
mean, it's
it's
from Philadelphia Central.
to anybody's point, it's a Philly mistake for signing him and not knowing how to properly utilize him like the Jets did.
It's the same thing Seattle did when they took Jamal Adams. Same exact thing.
So that's the thing. Like to me, they're gonna run it back. The question is, who's it gonna be
But
with?
but that I don't think that's a wise move to run it
I
back.
I don't think they're running it. Like, keeping a few pieces, well, keeping your young players and like your QB just because if he retires on you, it's a massive cap hit. That's not technically running it.
Yeah,
That
but don't you think Devonte Adams came here because he knew Rodgers was going to be here for at least a year? He didn't come here for 12
where
games.
where did he come from? He came from Oakland,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
I would have
Yeah,
did anything to get out of Oakland. Let me be real with you. Yeah, yeah,
I get it, but I mean, don't you think him and Rodgers talk a lot?
yeah, of course. But I mean, like, I just don't know. I think the worst thing for your franchise right now, PD, if you guys sneak into the playoffs somehow, some way, I think that's the worst thing for your franchise right now.
Thank you.
I really do.
Thank you.
It sounds good, but like for the long run, because we're not talking about just this year and next year. We're talking about year 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like we're talking long term. It would be the worst thing for your organization to sneak into the playoffs and then
Yep.
run it back because you guys made it to the wild card round or
Yep.
whatever.
Yep. And that's what I just said. That's my greatest fear. That we sneak in and Woody brings everybody back. That's I mean, I'm not thinking short term, PD. I'm thinking long term.
And
And,
that
and
that's
and
no
that would be the
slight.
worst.
That's no slight to the Jets. Like the way I'm looking at it, like if the Bills made the playoffs with Rex Ryan, we would be in a load of shit right now. And I'm just being real with you. Like the best thing for us was Rex Ryan going 7-9 his last season, or 7-8, or whatever he went. If he made the playoffs, we would be in a load of shit right now. We would be a terrible organization. Right now, sneaking into the playoffs for you guys will put you in a really bad position because now you're winning enough games to not get that premier draft pick that you need for your future. You have a 42-year-old quarterback the next season. You have a 31, 32-year-old wide receiver. You have offensive tackles that are in their high 30s and they're almost 40, right? Is Tyron Smith 39? Like you have all of these older pieces, but you made the playoffs. And now
Well,
you don't.
Tyron Smith's not signed though,
Yeah,
Justin. To be
Okay,
fair.
but both those guys are on 1 year deals, so it's not like you have to
Yeah,
bring those guys back.
right. So
and
and
I
and that
get it.
and
Wait,
that's
wait, Justin,
another
one
thing.
sec. All right, one sec though. Adams, yes, is 31, but you also have Garrett Wilson, who's 24. You just drafted. I know he's not playing. Malachi Corley. I'm not putting him in saying he's going to take over the role of the slot receiver and all. I'm just saying you have two guys right there.
And that,
So they
but
have
Petey,
young
that's two
pieces.
guys. That's
Correct. I'm just saying it's not
but
like
that's
they don't have
Pete. But Petey,
anything.
you're missing the point. You're not going to have sustained success with two guys. And the point is
And they're going to
point,
bring
Petey.
back
The point is
Lazard.
sustained success. That's the point. It's not a splash here, a splash there. And
So wait,
you're
hold on.
telling me
Is
you're
it
losing
six?
your left tackle. That's like a cornerstone
Mhm.
piece of the offensive line.
But they have their left tackle.
But
They drafted him.
okay, but who weren't we just in here a couple days ago and you guys say he's better at guard?
Not me. I didn't say
Like
that.
you
He had to play guard this week because
you're
everybody got
telling
hurt.
me, and that is also another thing. So you're telling me that your left tackle is old, your right tackle is old. You're not going to have either of those guys next year. Okay, you got a rookie this year that's going to go in next year, but your depth of the offensive line is consistently hurt. It's been 2 years in a row where you're playing mismatch patty whack with the offensive line, put it patching here and patching there, because the guys are injured. And you're telling me you want to run it back. What is the point of running it back with that? What is the point of running it back with that?
Because number one, if you get technical, everybody on that offensive line next year, besides John Simpson, what is John Simpson? 28? Can somebody look that up, please? How old is John Simpson?
Um, let's see.
1997 he was born.
He's
He's
pretty young.
So he'll
27.
be
He's
28.
27.
All right. So he's 27. So left Fashion, what, 21? John Simpson's 27. Joe Tippmann's 24. Elijah Vera Tucker's 25.
So the
Well,
The
ABC,
offensive line is young.
ABC, who you don't
AVT is a
trust,
question mark.
but like
He's a
so
question
Correct.
mark.
so
Correct.
you
I'm
have a
just saying
question.
he's on the
You
team
have a
next
question
year.
mark at guard. You have a rookie left tackle now who's not getting time playing left tackle because he's filling other roles because your offensive line is hurt, right? Like he's played right tackle and he's played guard. So why are you running it back with that? There's no point. You're not going to consistently win with that, and that's the point of any good organization. Yes, you build around pieces, foundational pieces, but you win. Like you have to have the foundational pieces to win.
Okay. So I'm just saying, like, and listen, this is not a shot. So the Bills had foundational pieces at wide receiver this year before the year started
No,
with signing
but no,
Samuel.
but we have
And
foundational
and I
pieces on
get
the offensive line.
correct.
Right.
Correct. But I'm just saying.
And what did I say?
So
You build from the trenches.
okay, but they also lost somebody last year, and who'd they replace him with? And the guy didn't miss a step. Who'd you guys lose on the line?
So we released Mitch Morris and we moved our
They lost their
guard.
center.
Right.
They
Yeah,
lost their center.
moved our guard over to center, but our guard had center experience, and that was probably the plan all along.
That's yeah. No, and your offensive line has been healthy now for 2 years
Yep.
straight, which is insane.
And
that's unheard of.
And our depth at offensive line is also good.
Yeah, and plus you have a quarterback that's in his late 20s, mid-late 20s. That's he's a top 2-3 player in the
Wait,
league.
I'm sorry. This is where I got to jump in. So Elijah Vera Tucker, 25 years old, cool, has some injuries, whatever, good player. Olu Fashanu, gonna be a left tackle of the future. Boom. Joe Tippmann not only played well at center, but played well at guard last year. Like, what are we doing? Let's not act like the Jets don't have some pieces on the O line. Like, let's not do
There's
this.
3 guys that are under 25 years old. That's what I'm saying. You could build around
cannot
that.
say AVT is a question mark and then say, oh, we have a piece on the offensive line with AVT.
Yeah,
Pick
that's
a
a
side.
fact.
Pick a side.
Yeah, I would say two.
I'm just saying. I know
Pick a
he's
side,
injured, but
can I see
he's
what he
still
comes back
young.
with? Like, damn, like he got hurt.
You
for a
saw
couple
what he
games.
came back with like 3 times.
What are you talking about, bro? He came off
Like,
an Achilles.
how many times has this man been
until he
injured?
got hurt again. Like,
bro. Like, I know we have emotional attachments to some players as fans, but like we gotta be realistic here. You gotta be realistic. If
so AVT's not a good player.
the best ability is availability.
The best ability
is availability. The best
Okay,
That's a
but
ability
you're
is
acting like there's no
availability.
pieces on this line. So again, Joe Tippmann played well at center and guard.
Okay, so you have 2 pieces. You have 2
John
pieces
Simpson,
on the
again,
offensive
is still
line.
under contract.
How many players are on the offensive
John
line?
Simpson's not a piece. John Simpson was
How
one of the
many
highest rated
players are
guards
on the
before he pulled
offensive
his
line?
groin.
How many players are
I
on the
just
offensive
named
line?
them. If you're not
No,
listening, that's on you.
give me a number.
No, I just named them, bro. If you
Give
can't
me a
count,
number.
that's on
There's
you,
5
bro.
players on the offensive line, right?
And again, I just
Wait,
told
what
you
is
the
it?
pieces
Did
that we
they have
have
3
going into next
guys?
year.
So there's one guy that's a question mark. So I'm canceling him out because you guys keep questioning him with his availability because he's always injured, right? So take him out. So you have a left tackle and you have what, a center? There's 3 other
And
players
a
you need
left
to fill
guard.
in.
And a left guard. John Simpson's
There's
still
3.
under contract.
Okay, John Simpson. So there's 2 other players that you need to fill in for the offensive line. Am I wrong?
So what? So wait, the Bills are set now at offensive line for the next 3 years?
Yes.
Everybody's under contract?
The Bills are set. The only one I think will demand more money is the center now. Deion Dawkins just got extended. The left
Yeah, he got $20 million a
right,
year.
yeah. The left guard was a rookie. He's in his 2nd year. Edwards is on a 2-year contract, I believe. And he'll probably get extended. And then you have our tackle Spencer Brown, who just got his extension.
Okay, and these guys are all healthy. So God forbid one of them gets hurt.
But
Justin,
like I just said, Petey, we have the depth to manage that.
But okay, so who's the depth if they go down? You know for
have
sure
Alec
they're going to play as
you have
well as
Alec
the other
Anderson,
guys?
you have SVP. Like there's players that you have
Scott Van Pelt?
Scott
I'm
Van
just
Pelt.
kidding.
All right.
SVP.
You have was Van Denmark, I think he started left tackle when Deion Dawkins got injured. Like we have pieces where we can manage the offensive line until our main core comes back. And we'll be fine.
So then do you guys bring back Amari Cooper?
That I don't know. That's the toss up. But I'm not really too worried about that yet. Well, my whole point is it's not just the top 5 of the offensive line, it's the depth behind it. Right? The trenches have to be established in the first team and second team. Right? And you guys don't have that yet, especially on the offensive line. Defensive line is a different story. You have good rotation, you have great pieces on the first team defensive line. And that's fine. But there are not like I said, and maybe I am being ignorant because I'm not a Jets fan. But in my opinion, there's not enough players here to be like, okay, let's run it back. And that would be the worst thing for your organization if you made the playoffs this year and then ran it back next year with the same team, same roster.
I just don't get it. They definitely have enough people to run it back. You can't just tear it down with all these young guys. I'm
But King,
sorry.
tearing it down is
Especially if
not getting rid
Rogers
of the
come.
young guys, though. Like I think
Yeah,
I think
yes,
it's a
but
misconception.
okay.
Like
Okay, I understand that with the whole coaching staff. I want a new staff in here, but they're going to run it back.
and and
You
and
know they're
that's
going to
the
do
worst
it.
thing for your organization.
Well, I'll deal with that. It's nothing. I'm not going to not be a Jet
I
fan
mean, I'm
because
not.
of
No
it.
one's telling you not to be a Jet fan, but I'm saying for sustained success, for long term success, running it back.
Well, we don't know how to build that. That's the
And,
problem. We've never
yeah,
done it.
it starts with the coaching staff.
I agree with that. CB, do you want to bring up something?
Now I just don't understand why running it back means you don't add pieces, but hey, that's on y'all.
So, Justin, to be fair, the Bills have $10 million next year in
Yeah,
salary cap.
because we have a lot of money invested in
So,
our defense. A lot of it.
right. So, you guys are going to have to restructure to create.
Well, we save money. Von Miller is a toss-up piece. We save money with that, right?
8 million,
And
8.5.
then what you did when when you get your franchise QB, you go to him. He's like kind of like your bank. So you restructure his contract, you extend him to create more cap room, right?
Yeah,
That's
but Josh Allen's salary is going to only go up.
yeah. I
It's not going to
mean,
go down.
Josh Allen is a player where you want his salary, right? You want to keep him. So if you have to give him the money as like one of the top two QBs in the league, then you do that. And if it creates
Yeah.
cap space for the rest of your team, that's fine.
Well, his
That's
cap number next year is
it's the
43
same thing with
million. Then it goes up to
it's the same thing
63.
with the Chiefs. Same thing with unfortunately the Packers. They made Jordan Love the highest paid quarterback in the league. Like like you can tell me about if Josh Allen was playing like a bottom 15 QB, I'd be like, yeah, that's a big issue. But he's one of the best QBs in the league. And you can go to him consistently to restructure and create cap space for your team. We've done it for like the past 2 seasons, maybe past 3 seasons.
I understand that, but his restructuring, he's going to go up in
Yeah.
money.
I mean,
And no, extending, he's
yeah,
going to
if
go
you
up. If they restructure, then they're just
they're
digging a
pushing money
hole.
to the back.
Come on, kick him, man.
Hey, yo, what you say my name for? I ain't even do nothing.
You did the
Bro, I
phone
ain't do
ringing
shit,
thing.
bro. All I did was raise my hand,
Then who
waiting for my
was it?
time to talk.
Then who was it?
Man, anyway, man, look, I don't know. Hey, James Cook, you see how they talking to you all soft and shit? Uh,
Yeah, I'm talking to you soft.
no, not me. I said the Bill fans. I'm talking about Bills Mafia. Check this out, right? James Cook made a good point, right? Why run it back, right? Like just hear me out, right? Y'all complained about the coach. Y'all complained about James. I mean, y'all complained about Joe Douglas, right? So if I was a Jets fan, and I'm being honest with you, not trolling, why the fuck would I want to run it? Would have run it? Can't even get the words out. Why would I want to run it back, right? Hear me out. Listen, y'all don't make the playoffs, right? Shout out my man JD, but get rid of JD, Joe Douglas. Find y'all a new coach. You know what? Even start with a rookie quarterback. Like, I'm gonna keep telling y'all, bro. I think Aaron Rodgers is the problem, bro. Being honest with you, I don't know. Maybe Aaron Rodgers might pull a LeBron James. Don't they say Aaron Rodgers got a son and shit playing wide receiver in the Pac-12 or some shit like that? I don't know. Maybe next year y'all could draft Aaron Rodgers the third.
He's
Hey,
got no kids, man.
huh?
He's got no kids.
Dang, he ain't got. Oh, dang. Oh, all right. But anyway, I like Kyler Murray this week. My DMs is open if
Good
anybody
for
want to take
you.
a bet.
Well,
It's
you got to
crazy how
kick up to
Kicker
the
went
top here,
from
my
blazing
man.
the Jets and putting down the Bills to blazing the Bills and putting down the Jets.
Hey,
Yep.
I might be
But
I might be a Dolphins fan next week. I don't know.
Yeah, just go
But
back to the bank. We ain't worried
there's
about your
no
family.
listen. Yeah, there's no way. They're not. They're running it back. Whether kicker, you could say everybody can fan how they want to fan. I'm not going to fan how, you know, somebody in here how June is. June can think what he wants.
no, I'm saying so
I'm gonna be
right.
different. Like
So let's be
If
real,
June
right?
thinks that we should trade people, that doesn't mean I think
All right,
so.
cool. But
I don't think the Jets are going to tear it
all right,
down.
but you
Other
as a
people may
you as a
think.
diehard Jets fan, right? You probably been going to the games for like 15, 20 years straight, right? If you had the choice, right, to make the team how you wanted to be, how would you make the team? Who you firing? Start
Who am I firing? It depends where they are.
phone call. Hey, Petey, hold that. Hey, Petey, hold that. I got a question. I got a phone call real quick. Hold that thought real quick. I'll be right back. Damn.
Jokes was just up here. He
This
just had
is
his hand up.
Would you fire Joe Douglas, Petey?
right now. I think you have to, but let's see
I
how the
agree.
season plays out.
Jokes, go ahead,
If the
jokes.
season plays out,
How can we definitively say we're going to run it back when we're 3-6?
because that's what I think they're going to do, Jokes,
Why?
because of the owner. Because the owner's going to think with his business mentality and say, you know what? I got to fill the seats. I want Aaron Rodgers. I want the attention. That's what he's going to do in my eyes. And if I'm wrong, who gives a fuck? I could care less. You know, I do a tradition. I go with my family to games. My dad, my sisters sometimes now, my niece, my kids are starting to tell me they want to go. I'm still going to go. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of how bad they are. But to me, I think they're going to run it back. Now, you don't think so, and that's cool. We could debate it all day. I think they're going to run it back. You may want to tear it down. That's the great point of these spaces
But
is to
Petey, when you
debate
say
it.
running
And
back,
I'm
you
here
mean running
for it.
back with Rodgers at quarterback, right?
Yes. Yes.
What
Now,
about hiring the guy Glenn for the general manager job,
I don't,
even if he doesn't know what he's doing or he
who,
does?
Aaron Glenn?
Yeah, because isn't he a
He's a
homegrown Jet
coach.
guy?
yes.
He's a defensive coordinator. He was
I'm
a
just saying,
cornerback for the Jets.
put somebody in there that loves the Jets. Isn't I just don't think Joe Douglas loves the Jets, right?
Mm.
Because of the contract structure. I want somebody in there that loves that green and white, right? Like will die for that shit. Like he would be probably the perfect guy. I mean, why not take the upgrading job? I would leave the coaching for that job.
Nah, that dude wants to be a
Just
coach,
But
saying.
man.
you,
Just
but do
Hey,
saying.
you
office.
guys not realize though, with Aaron Rodgers coming, if that's what everyone believes that Woody's going to do. Woody also said
Yeah.
before the season started that this was the best roster he's ever assembled. If they don't go on a
Mm-hmm.
run, well, he's going to realize he was wrong. The next question becomes,
Hmm.
what coach do you think is going to want to come in here,
Thank you,
knowing that
Joe.
you got to deal with
Thank you,
Aaron
Jokes.
Rodgers? It, you're not going to make any money. Like, how many people were at the Halloween game with Aaron Rodgers? So, like, it's not actually a
Uh,
good business
Jokes,
decision.
I saw it. I think it was 65% full,
Okay,
which is not, which I thought it, honestly, man, I actually thought it was going to be 40%. I was stunned
so
No,
with how many people
but
showed up.
But if they don't continue to win, the stadium's going to get less and less. If they win, they go on a run. The
Oh,
discussions are different.
Jokes,
But
you're
to
right.
say
You're right.
definitively
This
that they're going
year.
to run it back next year, I, I I don't think that anyone can say anything at this point right now. You got
but
to
Well,
have to
but
wait for the season
I'm
to play
saying
off.
it definitive.
but Pete,
Okay,
Pete.
that's my opinion, though. I definitively, like, just like you definitively want Quinn Williams to be traded.
Yeah,
I
I'm all
definitively
for it.
think
I'm
that the Jets are going to run it back. I don't see the issue. Like,
It's
that's my
not.
opinion on it.
It's your opinion. I just think that you're wrong. You think that
Pete,
my opinion is wrong, and
Okay.
that's fine.
No,
hey,
I'm not
Petey.
saying you're wrong.
Hey,
I'm not saying you're wrong on that.
Petey, listen to what
This is
he's saying,
very
Petey.
healthy. I love
Hey, Petey, listen to what he's saying. Same thing I've been saying. What coach is gonna come in here? That's the key shit right there.
So nobody's going to take the Jets job next year.
No, be
Cool.
some bum.
Hey,
Exactly.
Okay,
here's
so
a quick rebuild.
who's a bum?
How about a new kicker?
But who?
Do
Yeah.
you think
That's
that
our rebuild.
you think any reputable coach? I keep hearing
Thank you.
a lot of Jets fans say Vrabel.
Yeah.
Vrabel has one more opportunity at a head coach. You think he's going to tie it to a guy that's going to leave?
I'm
And
not
then,
saying that, Jokes.
so like, what reputable coach do you think is going to put their name on the
But
line?
how do you know for a fact? How do you, just like
That's
you
a
said,
fact,
you
Pete.
think you're okay, but
I think
how
that
is that a
I
fact,
think that
June and
I think that
Jokes?
I've been more right than wrong when it comes to some of these things. No,
But what does that mean, Jokes? Who gives a shit?
I just
Who
listen.
cares if you're
I
right?
licked my finger. I put it up to the wind, and the wind told me.
Oh,
I say get a
all
new
right.
kicker.
When you say it like that, then I'm good with you. But Jokes, seriously, man. But let me be real with
Listen,
you.
I just
Honestly,
listen. When I you
who?
ask me a
Go
question,
ahead.
I like to view
Yep,
things and formulate my own opinions based off of my projections and how I see things.
that's fine.
I think that we should have fired Salah.
Yep.
I think
Yes.
that we fired him in season was stupid. I think that he should have been fired
Okay.
before the
I never
season.
heard you say that.
No,
Now I respect your
I
opinion
not
more.
because I think it does anything for the coach. It just makes you as an organization look like a laughing stock. So even though I
Hmm.
Right.
wanted, I like people are like, oh, the defense looks worse without him. Nobody cares. He's still like he was incompetent. He wasn't the reason why you won or lost games. But if you were
Mm-mm.
going to fire him, you shouldn't have taken the entire offseason. You drafted for him, had him do a training camp, had him install an offense, read like you should have fired him in the offseason. It's just a level of incompetency, which also will hurt what coach wants to come here next year. But
Yep.
Quick
Exactly.
if you
question.
don't think that you are asking a new coach, we're gonna run it back with the pieces. It just went, I don't know, fucking 9-8 or 6 and fucking whatever. That coach is gonna be like, fuck you.
Thank
Would
you.
we be having this conversation if Greg the Leg made the freaking kicks?
Probably
What I'm
not.
gonna tell you is, and no, and here's what I'm gonna say to that. Greg the Leg missing those kicks just put a it's like putting Febreze in a room filled with shit. You would
Mm.
have been good, but the warts was still there. The only thing that him not the only thing that showed by him missing those kicks are all the warts that were there. Do you understand? Like you're it's lipstick on a pig. The team's not as good as we thought it was, clearly,
Agreed.
and that's the problem. Just telling me
Yeah, I
that you
agree
kicked a
too.
field goal to beat the Broncos at home, like I don't know, some of that stuff is just lipstick on a pig.
Agreed.
But Jokes,
But
don't
does it?
you agree if you ran Jordan Travis's name out there and said we're going to do something with him, it would at least be more enticing than like you said, Rodgers ain't going to entice nothing. Do you agree?
But
If you
wait.
were to
But
tell me
offense
that
and
the
Jokes.
next year we're running it with Jordan Travis, I may drink a gallon of bleach.
Oh
Well,
shit!
that means
Don't
we're
do that.
probably. That's what I'm. That now to me. Now let me build off of that, Jokes, because to me, if you're going to tear it down, that's what I would do. I would start Travis, and then you're in line for the number one
No,
pick
no,
the following year,
The
which
the
I don't think they're going to
the
do.
If you're gonna tear it down, to make that job once again appealing, you need draft capital. That's number one, and then you don't give the job to nobody.
But
You
why
let
do?
him battle it out in camp. Enough with that giving people job shit, because that shit never fucking works.
But what does the draft capital
I
have to do
lightly
with
mis
anything? The
I
Jets had
misworded.
draft capital when they had the second pick with Zach Wilson, and they fucked it up.
Once again, you talking
well,
about
thank
that
you, Pete.
regime. For the new regime, you give them as much draft capital as they want, and let them get their people in here. You don't sit there and nah,
If
you
you
don't
want to
do it.
entice somebody to come here, you have to tell them that they have free reign and every ass. You can
Yes,
utilize every
All the
player
time.
as an asset to do what you
that's the
need to
only way
do.
to do it, Pete. That's the only way to
That's
do
a,
it.
So you don't think you don't
I'm not telling you
Jokes?
to
To
sell it.
be
I'm not
fair,
telling you to sell everybody off. What I'm telling you is you have to give the incoming regime the ability
hmm
to utilize every asset that they need. Like I heard you bring up the Bills before. I was just listening, and the fact of the matter is you can talk about their salary cap, you can talk about their wide receivers.
I bet you got a call.
Sure, what's up, brother?
I think you guys are jumping the gun again. I just,
Yeah,
I'm objective. I don't. I think this season's going to end a whole lot different than you guys think. I think you may be stuck with the same regime, and it's based on your strength of schedule. So you have a bad loss, right? You have a Patriot loss. You have a kick that you missed against Denver, but all in all, your losses are the highest rated losses. And I know there's still losses, so you won't look at it that way. But if you look at it from an objective point of view, you're losing to teams that are, doing what they're supposed to do while you were getting ready. Like I said, the lack of that preseason cohesion and certain things, they're going to come into play. And that's why opposite bases were making a big deal about Rodgers going to Egypt or so on and so forth. Because, you're hearing things about, the cadence. That should never be something. So, yes, I don't think firing Salah was anything other than a move to placate the fans and say we're doing something. However, look at what's about to go on. You have essentially one game where you're going to be an underdog the rest of the year. One game. So, and that's Buffalo. And if Buffalo can't get the 1 seed, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't have their whole team out there. So, it's going to be very interesting down the stretch. What does this conversation turn into, when you're a game under 500? You know what I mean? Because it's not like you guys are getting the doors blown off you. I mean, I understand blowing it up if you look like absolute shit. You look like an undisciplined team. And what does that come from? That comes from coaching. So if you have X amount of penalties in a Buffalo Bills game, we're not going to count the penalties that went against you or for you. I'm just saying, you guys have X amount of penalties. You have a kicker that doesn't make kicks. You just have so many variables that are contributing that the ball bounces one or two ways, and that record's flipped. So I don't think you're blowing anything up. I genuinely don't. What I believe is that, again, I thought your number one enemy was health, and while Moses hasn't given up sacks, Smith is older. You're gonna have to, if you're saying turn the keys over to Fashanu, turn the keys over to the younger offensive line so you can get bigger. And I think, again, as the division for you guys, as far as I'm concerned, I don't know why you laid eggs against New England, but I think you can be in the mix for at minimum a wild card again next year. I just think that the team needed time, and as Jets, I get it. Time is not of the essence. It's always all in or nothing. But sincerely, they had to have time to build. I think Rodgers has looked stronger and stronger every single game. I think Garrett Wilson has progressed. You can run this back essentially if you get better interior play.
I'm not arguing that. Charles, jump
Good
in.
morning, all. What
What's
I
up?
want to happen, what I think is going to happen is two different things. Obviously, I'm a Jet fan. I want them to run the table. Okay. What I think is going to happen is they're going to win 6 or 7 games. And to this gentleman's point, we were favored against the Patriots. We were favored against Denver. We were favored against Pittsburgh. Okay. So the fact that we're favored doesn't mean anything other than the bookies look at our roster and say this team should do this. Okay. But on game day, traditionally, and if you're a fan of this team, they don't do this. And the biggest indictment on the interim coach, nice guy. I mean, complete disorganization, across the board. I mean, the first half of the last game I saw, I don't think I've seen anything like that. It just seems like, a bunch of chickens running without a head. I don't see where he comes back. I don't use the word blow up for the roster. Okay. That's for the new GM to look at. But the coaching staff, absolutely. And I want to see a bunch of coaches fired in this league because that's the only way assistants become available. So whoever you're hiring has a pool of qualified guys who were around the league working for other teams that are now available. That's the way I see it.
Charles, do you think, have you been listening? I think they're running it back now. You know Woody's going to do it, man.
The record,
What is he going to?
the record will
Right.
decide that. If it's around 500 or slightly above, you might be right. And once again, what they should do and what they will do may not align. In my opinion, okay, I didn't like Salah. I didn't like Salah's staff. Well, what's still there is Salah's staff.
Correct. Do you like Downing, Charles?
Not particularly.
Petey, can I have just to talk? So Charles, you said you were favored and they didn't, and you're saying the bookies. But let me ask you something. Were the Jets not the better team in all three of those games? Well, not the Steelers,
Okay.
because
Now,
you had the unknown of
you
Russell
you
Wilson.
bring up
So
an
I'm saying,
interesting point. Okay, on paper they were, and that's why they're favored. My point is this team, as constituted, underachieves on paper based on
yeah.
coaching and organization, and I don't see that changing. You do, and they're both opinions, and I hope you're right and I'm wrong. But just going by what I saw the last 3 years and this year, these are the same guys in the building running the show. So to think that all of a
Yeah.
sudden, because you took one of the guys away, that it's all going to work out, I don't see the glass as half full. But I hope you're right.
Well, what I was saying is in a sense of, so you said that they were off. I mean, it's just so hard if things are going to occur, right? Like in the Minnesota game, granted, I was in Houston for the Bills game, but I remember we were watching it. And what was the play? I mean, you're talking about just untimely mistakes, whether it's the kicker, whether it's a turnover. I mean, a flag in Buffalo. I mean, that 3 game stretch. I mean, so I guess the consensus is you guys all want a new staff, but let's just say this staff does reel off and you get to that wild card position. Are you still in that same category or boat, or are
They'll
you
be
going to
coming
allow
back.
them?
At,
Because, like
at,
I
at,
said,
at that point, they'll be coming back, and I think it's fool's gold because, like I said, my opinion won't be based on the next 6 weeks. It's been based on the last, 3 years as far as the people in the building. And I don't have faith that the general manager can retool and fix the offensive line. It's 6 years, and we still, put the line together today with a bunch of guys who are on 1 year deals who are old. So I look at it as more of the same. I understand your perspective. From the outside perspective, you're watching a team with a good roster almost win a bunch of games, and now they can win those games. My point is, I've watched the people in charge of organizing the roster on game day and coming up with a game plan to beat, other teams, and they screw it up more times than they get it right.
yeah, I can agree to that. I guess it's more based on my own personal experience with this last year, right? I mean, we were doing the same thing you guys are doing. I mean, we're 500, 6-6. I mean, to think Aaron Rodgers is just dog water is crazy. He's going to, I mean, if you play out the schedule right now, I mean, the Cardinals, like I said, you contain, and I don't think you're going to, I think you're going to dispatch them relatively easily. Their run defense is atrocious, and their strength is running the ball. Well, you have the number one run defense on yards per play and everything. So, I mean, I, I don't know what they're going to do. But then, you're looking at that Colts game real heavy because ultimately that could be, that decides your playoff right there. Then you're going to get the Dolphins twice, which they look like they're in the same boat,
We lost
and
you.
they're actually
Can you guys hear
oops,
me?
sorry.
Yeah, can you hear us, Speedy?
Yeah,
I
I
can hear
got
you,
you.
CD.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sherm, are
I can
you
hear you.
here?
Sherm's still talking. He was still talking.
Yeah,
Is he talking now?
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I got to
I'm talking.
force
You want me to
close the
drop?
app. Tell him sorry.
Nah, he'll be back, Sherm. Keep going.
No, you're good. So I'm saying you have the Dolphins twice, who have essentially their season is over. Like it's over. They're not shy about it. The Jaguars, they're done. They're done. You can book 3 more wins for the New York Jets. You just can. So right now, if you're looking at it, you have toss-up games, and essentially look at your record as 6-6.
You're being
You're
Sherm,
you're being
going.
Sherm.
logical. You're being logical, and I can't argue that. But in my history in life of being a Jet fan, whenever you
Mhm.
look and
Yeah.
say we're going to
We
run off
supposed to.
these
Right,
and
right,
all those, it just
right.
never happens.
It never had. And look, not just
Can you
that.
guys hear me? I'm
What?
back.
Yeah, yeah, we can hear you.
All right.
But the whole thing is, you can look at the Dolphins and say we can't. You should beat them and the Jags. We just lost to the fucking Patriots.
Yeah. Let me jump in
So
on this one, June and Charles. To be fair, Sherm, listen, Charles, I always say it, and June, you've been hearing me for months now. The Jets will jet. So do I think the Jets are going to somehow claw their way back in? A part of me says yes. But when they do, like just say they get to 5-6 at the bye, and then they're 6-point favorites at home against Seattle, then they're going to shit the bed because that's what they do.
Yeah, and
Charles,
and and you
am
have
I
to think.
right?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. And you know what? Until it doesn't happen, you expect it to happen. So I'm waiting for the year where what you just
Char-
described isn't the case.
Charles, how about the year, Rex's first year when we lost to Atlanta at home? Rex said the season was over.
No question.
That was
You
same
can't
old
live
Well, I
by
just,
bet,
puke and rail.
huh?
I mean, I'm in here a lot of mornings, and I'll just say this. I think we'll revisit the conversation when you're 500 in 3 weeks,
Sure.
because, like I said, with the
I
Dolphins and the Jags at the end of that schedule, I just think that I'm being serious when I say they're packing it in. And when I say packing it in, they're fighting for draft, slots. The Jaguars won't make any. If ETN's not on the move today, it'd be wild to me. I think Tyreek Hill could be a wild trade candidate. I think, I just think that there's going to be a lot of teams that you guys have in front of you that you're on the beneficiary. I mean, you just are. You're gonna benefit from that. So I would just say that those are a lot different. And I get it. You were favored against the Patriots, and shit happened. Now you have Hassan Reddick. Now you have Devontae Adams. I'm just saying, like, things, they're getting acclimated. They're playing. Those aren't just scrubs, man. Those are all pro guys that are stepping in. Like, you added 2 all pros to a team that was losing on, like you said, crazy bullshit. I mean, Devontae Adams catches that pass, you blow the doors off Houston. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying. But yeah, I got you. I got you. I get it. It's easier to be negative at the moment, but I promise you're going to be looking up. I think you're going to be fighting for that wild card spot for real.
I think the fact that the Bengals have hung around long enough, that team should be taken seriously, because Joe Burrow is if they had a winning record, he'd be MVP right now.
Well, let's look at that then. It's, to me right now, Buckeye, good morning. Hope you're well. The
Good morning, Petey.
So I think the Chargers and the Bengals, and then who's that third team? Who's in back of them?
Pete,
Denver? Is Denver going to hold
Petey,
on?
I'm
I think the
surprised they
Chargers
went
got
to.
to add a wide receiver.
I'm
I
Okay.
don't
surprised
think Denver's
Indianapolis
going
went to
anywhere but
Flacco,
up.
because I thought it would have been the Colts, but I can't see Flacco keeping that team alive.
Right. So is it Denver, Indianapolis? Who's behind them? Who's the other
Is
teams?
it not the Steelers? Are we
Right.
missing
The
the Steelers
Steelers.
there?
That's
They'll be
fair.
Well,
in it. They'll
hold
be
on.
in it.
Aren't the
Look at
Steelers are in front of their division, right?
yes. So wait. All right. I'm
The
sorry. I
misleading thing
missed.
about the Steelers, though, is
So then it's
the back
Baltimore.
nine
Like,
It's
of
what are
the
we doing?
Baltimore.
It's
Steelers'
one of those
schedule
two.
is terrible. It's terrible.
What, meaning it's brutal, right?
It's brutal. The back nine of the Steelers is a brutal one. Like,
We
Mike
haven't
Tomlin
played
is
them
the X
yet.
factor in that whole thing, but
All
man,
right. Hear
But
me out.
Buckeye,
What's
again, weren't you the
today's
guy yesterday
November
who was
5th, right?
lauding Mike Tomlin and saying that Tomlin's the reason that that team's successful? So, as brutal as it might look,
It's election
Tomlin
day,
might be
Petey.
able
Yep.
to get them there.
Yes, I know that. But what's the actual date? The
absolutely, CB.
5th?
The
That's
fifth.
no.
Today's the
That's
fifth.
November 5th.
All right.
That's
Sorry.
November
All
5th.
right. So
My bad.
listen, hear me out. Don't worry. Okay. Here's the Steelers
It's
schedule.
election day, Petey. How don't you know the date?
I forgot. Okay. I'm just looking. I know it's election day. Sorry. Come on. Come up and get me for that one. Steelers at Commanders, home to the Ravens, at the Browns, okay. At the Bengals, home to the Browns, against the Eagles, and against the Ravens, against the Chiefs, and then the Bengals.
Yeah,
My gosh.
that's what I was saying. And Pete, and then I want you to go ahead and look at the Broncos as well, who've got Kansas City there twice. Okay, they're going to. I mean, and they might steal one of those, to be perfectly honest, because they're rivals. But I mean, I'm not counting on it, looking at what Kansas City looks like. But I'm just saying. Whereas if you keep looking, and I get it, you guys think you're going to quote unquote jet, but God damn it, if you don't jet, it's there. It really is. It's a quality. I've already taken the Jets over 7 wins, and I'm gonna double that. It all depends on what, like I said, the Jags and the Dolphins even do today. Because if they trade off, I genuinely think that you're sitting in a pole position. Because essentially, you could look at your schedule and say, realistically, you can check off 5 games you should win. And I know you should is different. But the games you lost this year, I wouldn't say you should have won those except for the
But
Patriots.
Sherm, when you say
What game?
when they're saying the Jets are going to jet, and you're saying not so fast, and then you follow with I'm going to double down on over 7 wins. The 7 wins is Jets jetting. Like, that's the same statement. 7 wins
No, but
is our number.
I understand that. What I'm saying is that's the odds. I took that last week, and they're posted. So I think that's what I'm saying. I think the consensus is that they are going to. Whereas when you're adding 2 All Pros to a roster, okay, and Garrett Wilson has performed. Okay, I heard yesterday Sauce Gardner talking. Like I said, if you're blowing it up, sure, you want to get in the trenches. But as of right now, where can he go but up? In life, it's all about regression to the mean. You're never going to be too high. You're never going to be too low. He can't go anywhere but
Can
up.
I simplify this with just one question to everybody in this space? If you
Yeah, it was
lose
just
to Arizona this weekend, is the playoffs done? Because in my opinion, it's over. Yes or no?
I agree.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
so. I
Okay.
think so.
Yeah,
Yes.
because they're
I agree.
running out of time. It's going to
Exactly.
be week
And that
Well,
game's a
17
coin
Charles,
flip.
before we
That's a
know it.
coin flip.
Charles,
Arizona
let me
Arizona's
answer
not a
that.
guaranteed
By
game.
no means.
Yeah. Charles, I think there'll be people that are saying until the Jets get to 8 losses, it's not
Oh, I
over.
agree.
But
But we're all
but
talking here a little bit more logically than the norm, I hope, because yes, there'll be people each
correct.
week, if we beat this team, this scenario, and that scenario. Honestly, you're at a
Well,
point in the schedule. I'm going to say the next 2, but we'll start with Arizona. Okay. If you
mhm.
lose this week, it's over. Okay. If you win this week and you lose the following week, I still think it's over, but more so if you lose to Arizona.
Because you got to think, if you lose to Arizona and then you run into Buffalo, if we are playing for the 1 seed, that's going to be a very tough game as well. Like Arizona right now is a must win. It's
And
a
they're
It
must win.
good.
is.
Yeah, because you would much rather roller coaster
Well,
than
well,
flatline. You know
yeah,
what I
Can I
mean?
say
but
something?
Charles, yeah, Maddie, just one. Let me just bring the Charles. That's why yesterday, like the one win, like most fans were out on Rodgers before last week, and now everybody's back on board. It's crazy,
And
man.
what's really crazy is this league is designed, okay, as long as you're not absolute dog shit, to kind of keep you
Yep.
in the mix as long as possible now. With between
That's
strength of
right, sir.
schedule and where you draft, the fact that you can go 13 years without making
Oh, we lost them.
Like the benefit to you guys, like Sharon was
Maddie,
saying.
jump in.
Yeah,
Oh,
Sorry.
the
go ahead.
idea, I'm sorry guys, but the idea that the
Yeah.
Jets should beat any team in the NFL, I'm not sure what team anyone is watching here. They essentially got dominated by the New England Patriots. The only reason they were in that game was because the refs kept us in that game. Now, I'm not saying the Jets haven't gotten shafted by the refs in other games, but they got dominated by the Patriots. I know they were winning at the end of that game, but we got manhandled in that game.
Convert.
And the only reason we beat the Texans was because it was Thursday night football, which significantly favors the home team, and the Texans didn't have any of their receivers. This idea that the Jets are just going to
That's not your
definitely
fault,
beat
though,
the
sir.
Miami that we're
Conversely,
definitely going to beat
Wait,
the
wait.
Miami
Let
no.
Maddie
Dolphins
finish
twice.
here. Let Maddie.
We're going to beat the
Good.
Miami Dolphins twice because what? They're 2-6.
Maddie,
What are you guys watching?
Maddie, let me ask you though, why the only problem I have with your take, and it's a really good take because I agree absolutely, but you saying that because what about the Jets injuries though? They didn't have both of their safeties. They didn't have Lazard. They didn't have Mosley. They lost both of their guards.
I hear you, but
So
I hear you. These Thursday night games, Petey, I
they're
don't ever put
brutal.
too much stock in these Thursday night games. I just don't. They're like anomalies to me. The Jets have proven that they continuously they lack discipline. They make the dumbest possible penalties that you can make in a game. They do every single thing they can do to lose a game. They just haven't proven. They have given no reason for anyone in here. I know it was a Buffalo fan who said that, but like that we're just going to automatically beat the Miami Dolphins twice?
No, I'm
What are you
talking
guys watching?
I'm talking objectively and not as a fan. What I'm saying is genuinely, I understand. But conversely, let's always, like I said, keep that in perspective. We got lucky and beat the Texans, what you say. So wouldn't you say you got unlucky when you lost to the Broncos? Wouldn't you say you got unlucky when you lost to the Vikings? Again, this is all predicated on based on eventually the team has to come together. So if you're saying that the coaching staff is so abysmal that they can't teach these guys to set the edge on the end, if they can't get them to quit jumping offside, if they can't. But like I said, I'm going based on adding Hassan Reddick, who is one of the best pass rushers in the NFL, who is now on your roster, and he's there. This is what you wanted before the season. Now, if Lazard's back, you have Aaron Rodgers with two weapons that he is familiar with and one of the great young talents at wide receiver.
Lazard's on injured reserve.
Okay.
Who knows what he's going to be when he comes back?
He'll be
Can,
back in
can I
3
push back
weeks.
on one thing? The comment was we got manhandled by the Patriots. I don't remember that at all. Not at all.
If Drake May didn't get hurt in that game, we would have lost by 2 touchdowns.
But why do we always do the and Petey brought this up. Why do we always do for other teams if this one doesn't have an injury, and for our team it is what it is. It's accountability. So Drake May got hurt. And who's to know? Who's to know? But Drake May got hurt because he got a
Well, yeah,
concussion.
there's right, Maddie. To be fair, too, people are saying, "Oh, if Will Levis didn't do what he did in that game, then the Jets would have." You don't know that they would. The Jets could have held them to a. I'm not saying you said that, Maddie, but just hypothetically, like people just. I get it. We're all watching the same thing, but we don't know what would have happened after that. You don't know. So
That's
I
fine.
get what you're saying.
I'm just listening mostly to the spaces, during the weeks, and I just don't know what team everyone's watching. That I just I don't know. I just see a losing team that I don't see it.
I see a team that Greg Zerline destroyed us.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of games that we could have won.
Correct.
That we just took the L on the chin.
Correct.
We're laughed at properly, but our kicker cost us minimum 2 games, maybe 3 games.
Yes.
Maddie, wait,
go
real
ahead.
quick, Sherm. Maddie, do you think that I think we should have beat the Bills that game? Do you think we should have beat the Bills?
Losing teams don't run into the snapper.
No.
Losing teams don't run into the kicker on 4th and 20.
Justin.
Losing teams don't do what the Jets do.
Maddie,
Excuse me,
you're
winning
right.
teams don't do what the
Maddie,
Jets
I'm
do.
not arguing.
I'm
with
out
you.
of here.
And
I
you
wanna
don't
say one
fix
thing,
those things overnight. You don't just hope that you stop doing those things in the middle of the year.
That's fair.
But that's the thing. Before I leave, I got to say this, though, before I'm out of here. And this is what I'm trying to say. And trust me, I hope you lose every fucking game. You want me to be a fan, I'll be a fan. But I'm saying, objectively, over time, you got to realize that those things are going to be coached back to the norm. And like I said, the statistical, you are going to run into 2 teams that are completely based off of their run. Where are your strengths? Stopping the run. So it sets up a lot better for you than you got to realize the teams you've played too. And I keep hearing this, oh, we're going to jet. You've already jet against, top of the division teams. The Vikings, we've learned, are not a joke. They're not. The Bills are, you might dislike the Bills, but the Bills are a fucking good ball club. You know what I mean? I'm just saying the Broncos aren't horrible, and you should have beat them. You should have beat the Vikings. I mean, so like I said, all I'm bringing this full circle is, and it's weird that I have to be objective and say it because I know you guys are burnt out on it. But what does this conversation mean when you're 500?
Because we're not a good team. That's why we didn't lose.
But
That's why
there's
we
a
didn't win those
difference
games.
in his logical thought and the emotional response. The man's being logical. The man is just you sir, Sherm, I think, believe. I can't see very well.
Yeah, but office. But to be fair, you're right with that. But when we've been through what we've been through, like Charles, June, all of us, we're all older Jet fans. And that's not a knock on the younger Jet fans. We're used to this shit. So I'm always thinking negative. Like we were up at the end of that Houston game, and I was thinking that they're going to recover the onside kick. That's how I think as a Jet fan.
But
It's
that's
crazy.
what I'm saying to you, Pete. You don't have. That's what I'm trying to tell you is that and this whole they're missing. Yeah, Nico Collins out's huge and Diggs, but Tank Dell's not a slouch. They have the deepest wide receiver room in the NFL, and like I said, I just think that right now you're looking at this is setting up perfect for you guys, and you can look at it. But anyway, I'll go back to listener. And like I said, I'm just trying to say that I'm a firm believer in everything coming to the mean. And I think if you clean up the game, legitimately, that's all it has to do. If Albert's in there and he cleans up the game, you're going to win. You're going to win. That's just what
fair,
it is.
Sherm.
I don't know about Zerline, though.
Sherm, always a pleasure, man. Thanks for coming in. Dale, go ahead. Good morning. What's up? Dale, Matt Collins had 6 catches this week. Dale?
Good morning, PD. Good morning, Jude.
Um, Listen, I think the truth here somewhere lies in the middle. I don't think the Jets are as bad as Maddie's claiming. I think there's a lot of truth though to what Maddie's saying. Um, I to say you should have won these games. I mean, that's a tough sell for me because no matter who you're playing, I mean, the difference. Look, man, that Tua just lit us the fuck up last week, but we still found a way to win that game. And offensively, they went toe to toe with us that entire game. I say that because you guys fucking haven't fucking whoever the other douchebag is they have. That being said, they were a completely different team. I think last week you saw a week for them to kind of warm up, and then I think you saw against the Bills that offense firing just like it always has been when that dude's at quarterback. So there's not a chance in hell I think that you guys should be counting 2 wins against the Dolphins, maybe other games on your roster, but I also where I do see in the middle is I think the point I made all offseason, you have to learn how to win those games. And to me, that's the difference of I get Aaron Rodgers as Aaron Rodgers, and I think everything you said about Aaron Rodgers being Aaron Rodgers was true. But there's fucking 30 other guys on the roster that matter that got to learn that same shit. Maybe they start to learn to win, and maybe that Houston game was a kickstart for that. More likely could be, but I don't think the Jets are as bad as Maddie's saying. I think you guys played a lot of really good teams tight. You got to learn how to win those games. Maybe that happens. So I don't think the Jets season's in the dumpster already, especially because there's so many win teams in the league right now. And I don't think that those other teams that you bring up at two wins are that much better than you guys. Like I get Burrow's playing amazing and he's got an offense. Their defense isn't great. It's not really good. It's one of the reasons why they're losing. And I don't think you can look at any of these 2-win teams and say, oh, this team's clearly ahead of these other teams. To be honest with you, all of them have flaws, which is why they're 2-win teams. And
Is Dale in and out?
Yeah, he is.
Dale's always in a bad area. Still talking. There you are, Dale.
Petey, the last thing I said is, mark my words, the Dolphins are about to smack teams putting up 40
Oh,
points.
I agree.
Remember I said that.
Yeah. Kamish, you came up. Good morning. You want to talk?
Hey, good morning, Petey. Nah, I'm just listening.
All right, cool. How you been, all right?
Yeah, everything's good.
Good.
I think the Jets should move Mike Williams today, but I don't think they will. I think Joe Douglas, for whatever reason, has trouble moving on from wide receivers, going back to, the last couple of years. I forget who they drafted in the second round. They never ended up using that guy. Teams were calling about him, and then he ended up on the Browns. I don't remember the guy's name, but
Elijah
Denzel
Moore.
Mims.
No,
yeah,
Elijah Moore.
both, right? Moore and Mims.
Oh, yeah, Mims. Too.
Yeah, I was thinking Mims, but yeah, Mims and Moore. And then he ends up getting pennies on the dollar. I don't understand why he waits too long for these guys.
Well, I don't know if he got what exact didn't the Jets get back a second round pick for Moore? Well, what did they get? A third rounder or a fourth? Wait, sorry. That's 3 things I just said. My bad.
Yeah,
Does anybody know can somebody pull up I forgot about that.
I'll just say this. I don't remember what they got. I just remember thinking that they did not get maximum value for these guys, especially Mims in his second year when he was in the doghouse. It wasn't being used, and teams were calling about him, and Douglas refused to move him, and he was only being used on special teams, and then he was a healthy scratch. I remember a couple of games. Mike Williams is going to be the same story. I mean, what's wrong with Gibson and what's wrong with Corley? I mean, they have, I think, a deep enough wide receiver core. They don't need to hold on to
Kamish, to be fair, I don't agree with you, but I'm going to counter with it. I think if Lazard was healthy, they would trade Mims. They would trade Williams. I think they're going to keep Mike Williams because of their depth, because there's no other receiver. At least they're not going to put Corley and Gibson
Especially if they think they're making a run in quotation marks. You know what I'm saying, Kamish?
Yeah,
Because they're still all in. They think they can go on a run now.
right.
You,
You think they're buyers today?
the Jets? No, I think they do nothing. But again, if I'm wrong, who cares? I don't think they're going to do anything unless what? Add a defensive tackle. What are they going to do? Add safety help?
Yeah, yeah. I hear you. I hear you.
But I mean, one second, Kamish. Guys, we're on YouTube Live. If you could subscribe to Jets Commute on YouTube. I put a short in the Jumbotron that we put on YouTube. Should the Jets extend their trade Gardner? If you could check that out on Jets Commute on YouTube, we'd appreciate it.
Well, I'll tell you to that question. I think Gardner has talent. I think he's not being coached well this year, and I think Ulbrich moving into the head coaching role is really hurting the defense. But especially, I think Gardner just needs better coaching. I wouldn't give up on him, especially not after the first year that he had.
Yeah, and I think he's a building block here going forward, Kamish. Him and Garrett Wilson. Build the team around those two guys. You mean to tell me that a coach wouldn't come here for those guys? Like, didn't Aaron Rodgers come here? Everybody's going to say, "Oh, well,
But
where could he have gone?
you're
Where could Aaron Rodgers have
you're
gone?"
talking to coach and the GM now, right? Like eventually, like they want their own guys. So you
Understood.
you can keep some of your guys. I'm not saying get rid of all your guys, but
But
just for example, say the ex Titans coach, can't think of his name right now, but
Vrabel.
Vrabel, like, so let's just go over what we talked about earlier. Like, okay, Vrabel, you're coming in. You have a whole left side of offensive line. You got a rookie left tackle. You got Morgan Moses, and you have your center.
Mm-hmm.
The right side needs work, right? You have these. You have good defensive pieces. You have Reddick, you have Williams, and you have McDonald, right, on your defensive line. But you have to work on the fourth spot for the starters, and you have to work on the depth. CJ Mosley is older, so you'll probably have to find a linebacker. Number 44, Sherwood has played good, but we think we can upgrade there, right? You still have the other Williams, right? And then you have to
Yep.
make a decision on your cornerback room because you have to decide DJ Reed or Sauce Gardner. So, like, yeah,
But
a coach could come into
Justin, can
that.
I just ask you a question though?
Yeah, what's up?
How come Sean Payton went to Denver with Russell Wilson and then they moved on?
Be-
Like,
because they,
go ahead.
bro, when Sean Payton went to Denver,
When Mahomes is in that division,
because they gave Sean Payton like autonomy, like everything. They gave that
I
man
know he got
everything.
17 million.
They
Okay.
gave him full control of the team. Like that is Sean Payton's team. That completely his team. And he didn't like Russell
It
Wilson.
was
They didn't
a
get
great
along.
situation he could have been hired into, dude.
Yeah,
It was perfect for him. Yeah, he don't give a squat about no Russ.
yeah.
He don't care
Sean
about.
Payton will turn over a roster in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's gonna trash all the fat on that team,
Like,
So
but
who's to
they're
say that
solid.
the Jets can't get a coach? I'm not saying we don't know
but
who the
that's the
name
thing. Like,
is.
what are you offering the coach to get them, Petey? Like,
You're not.
Money,
Woody
money,
is not.
Petey, it's
control.
not
Woody,
it's not just
Woody is
money.
not paying. Well, first of all, Woody is not paying $17 million to no damn coach. That's number one. Number two,
And it's not just
what?
money. It's
Right. It's. I mean, like, yo, the job is not appealing, bro. I don't know why you think. Like, I mean, I understand it's 32 jobs in the NFL, but the Jet job is not appealing when you got an owner who always meddles.
right.
It's not.
Right, you use Sean Payton as an example. Sean Payton has full control of that team and roster. Like the owner is not meddling in his business. Whatever Sean Payton wants, Sean Payton is going to do. In addition to the
Yeah, he don't
17
go
mil.
nowhere near him. He don't go nowhere near him, dude.
In addition
You
to
know
the
what I mean?
right. In addition to the 17 mil. That's a big thing, BD. That's huge.
And Sean Payton knows what he's doing. Like he's not no slouch. I think when he took the job with the broadcasting, he was just sharpening the axe, dude, giving himself a mental break. He's back, Jack, whether people like it or not. And Bo Nix is a hell of a player at the quarterback position. Is he the best quarterback? I'm not sure about that, but you can tell he listens to Sean Payton. He does what the man asks of him, and it's working.
Okay. I'm on different sides of the fence here with this.
That's why I respect you, Petey. Though you know a lot about football, my man. I know you do. I listen to
Yeah,
you every day.
but I'm wrong a lot, you know. Like, and I
There's
don't care
nothing
if
wrong
I'm
with
wrong.
that.
Who cares?
I agree with
June,
you. I will stand with you on that. I don't care if
June, I
I'm
got a
wrong.
question. Oop, my bad.
I like
Yes,
being
sir.
right, though.
Yes, sir.
June, you keep saying the job's not attractive. So let's talk about what happened in Denver, right? They give the job to Hackett, and then you have new ownership where it's the Waltons basically. So you have
Yes.
obviously they know how to run, and then they basically hand over, as Justin eloquently put, full autonomy. Sean
Mm-hmm.
Payton, he has control of everything that goes on through that.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think is your so I have a differing opinion on why your building is messed up than you guys do, but it starts at your GM, right? And the reason why I say that is because he's always got you in a situation where it's where this person way rather than building through the draft and going ahead and taking that quarterback. And I'm not going to say Bo Nix is phenomenal, but what I'll say is that Bo Nix is serviceable for that scheme, right?
Right.
I,
Right.
I I think an identity has to be created within that culture. Now, again, yesterday, when you're talking about who you have building blocks, if you really look at it, you did draft your left tackle. That's already a premium spot. Like that's
Yes.
that's a
Yeah.
premium thing that a lot of coaches like to walk into. Believe it or not, you get to reset your entire roster when they take the quarterback of their choice. They're going to take a quarterback. So, and you're going to New York. I mean, it's a very attractive job. The question is will the owner allow? And I heard what you said, and I've listened to you guys quite a bit saying he's not going to pay top dollar. So who is an organizational guy? I mean, you're down to about two or three, and I think everything you guys have stated have pointed to Mike Vrabel. I mean, this looks like it's tailor made for Mike Vrabel to take. I mean, that's my opinion again, but I'm just saying like it's a guy who likes the organization. He's going to want control. He's going to want to install, and he already has familiarity with a lot of things. If you wanted to run it back while he drafts and they get a new GM and draft, well, guess who he has? He has familiarity with a lot of people in the Titans organization, like Todd Downing. You could run it back essentially with him while cleaning up mistakes. And you guys are saying jet. Well, when Mike Vrabel comes, you don't jet because he plays a little bit more disciplined.
That's fair. Jim, jump in here. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Good
Good
morning,
morning. I didn't get the usual good morning,
my
sir.
guy. What's up, Jim?
Fucking June. What the fuck? God,
I
don't
love
fucking
it.
my guy me. What the
Hey,
fuck? What?
look,
I'm gonna.
look, Jim. I see it like this: us limping into the playoffs will just prolong the inevitable, and then everyone will be brought back. I don't want that. I mean, if we make the playoffs? Will I still cheer my team on? Of course, but I'm just thinking down the road. What's the point? We want to get a good coach in here. I don't want to do another year where every game I'm essentially down 7 points each game because my coach is not as good as theirs. I'm tired of that shit.
So
I
did
get
Jeff
it, but I have
Ulbrich
a
outcatch? Wait, Jim, did Jeff Ulbrich outcoach D'Amico Ryans?
yes. The answer is absolutely
No,
yes. Yes. He undressed No. D'Amico Ryan's. Yes. No.
Okay, I don't know what
All
game
right.
you're on.
Let me address June. Let me address June with the Woody Johnson stuff. Everybody kills Woody Johnson, and listen, as far as giving the fans something to cheer about, yeah, he's brutal at it, but he like people call him a meddler and all this stuff. Like he only meddled this year, and he was right that they underachieved. And you can't fire everybody after the fucking fifth week, so you get rid of the coach. Like he gave Rex Ryan whatever it was 5 years, Todd Bowles 4 years, and I would have fired Todd Bowles after year two. He gave him 4 years. He gave that idiot Gase 2 years. He gave Salah 4 years. Like he doesn't meddle. He's not a meddler. Like he spends money. He gave Joe Douglas, which again, at the time, hiring Joe Douglas was applauded from everybody, and he gave him a 6-year deal. Salah was the hot coordinator. He paid him. Like I don't consider Johnson a meddler.
Jim,
Like, is he a bad owner asking fans for fucking next season tickets? Yeah, you're fucking tone deaf when it comes to that shit.
Jim,
But
you're forgetting along with Rex that he goes out and get Tim Tebow and forces him on the
no,
staff and stuff like that. Like,
I get it. You can that's fair. I was gonna mention that he did the Tebow thing. He meddled. He likes to make a splash sometimes, but in general, he really makes these guys do what they got to do. You know, um, as far as the playoffs, listen, I'm not getting excited. I'm not even talking about the Jets, honestly, until they win the next two. If they don't win the next two, I don't even give a shit, honestly.
So, Jim, if you don't want to go with the word meddler,
Honestly,
what's the word you want to associate with Woody? I'm just curious because Dolan kept Phil Jackson around. He kept Steve Mills around. He kept Herb Williams around. Like, what is that? What is Woody Johnson? I'm just curious. If you're not using the word meddler.
Woody, I'm not going to give him like a title, but I like people say he doesn't want to win. He's not serious about winning. I think the guy wants to win. I think he built a top-notch facility for his players and his team. Like, does he do stupid shit? Yes. Should he walk around with a fucking gold chain like Sauce does? No. Fucking, you're not fucking 30, bro. Like, you're like he's an idiot with shit like that. He's not a good. He sounds like a dummy when he's at the podium.
Well,
But if
Jim,
you just say, look,
do you think he hires people that like manage up to him, that basically are bobblehead, yes sir? Do you feel like he ever brings someone
no.
into the room that challenges him and tells him, go back to your office? Do you ever feel he brings someone in?
Well, well, as far as saying that, listen, you can, if you, any GM has to listen to the owner. The owner. Is that me with the feedback? Can you hear me,
I
guys?
do, but Jim, we have a team in New York in the Knicks that you saw this happen. You saw Dolan do exactly what Woody does, and when Leon Rose came in, it stopped. And now the team is a different team and a different organization and a winning culture. Like, it stopped.
But,
But
but,
Buckeye, you're
but
making the assumption that that is happening. Can I ask you if you think Woody was involved? Do you think you take a tackle in the first round? That was the only thing that made me think that Joe Douglas was actually drafting for himself and the good of the team, because I can't imagine not going all in and taking the tight end. I mean, again, I'm just
I'll, sorry, I'll give you what the problem with Woody is. And I agree with, I forgot, I didn't see who just said that. Joe Douglas, I think, has full reign to do what he's got to do. Like Woody, when Peyton Manning calls and says, "Listen, Adam Gase," what the fuck does Peyton Manning know? He shouldn't be doing that shit. Now, again, Woody went through the fucking what's the management fucking people and say, "Listen, these are the guys you should get as a GM." Like that was ridiculous.
So,
Like,
Jim, push back on the full reign, right? You're Joe Douglas.
yeah,
You're on the final year of your contract. You may never be a
yeah.
GM ever again. You have full reign to fire Saleh and hire Vrabel, maybe make a try with Harbaugh, maybe make a try with something else. You think in your heart of hearts that Joe Douglas was like, fuck it, I'm putting everything in on Robert Saleh. That's where my security is. You feel that's what he did?
As far as Joe Douglas hiring Salah,
No, as far as moving on from Saleh. Do you think he had full reign to move on from Saleh?
I don't think so, because I think Woody was pissed.
So that's not full reign.
And
That's the head
no,
coach.
no. Well, he had full reign up until week 5 and if it was me, if I was Woody Johnson, he just did it a week earlier. I was going to have Salah. I would have told him straight out, your job is on the line Monday night against the Vikings. But he did it a week earlier. Like, listen, you as an owner, you could do whatever the fuck you want with the team, but I don't think he meddles. I think finally he had enough, and he was right. This team is underachieving. Like people talk about Aaron Rodgers, like he's fucking Jamarcus Russell, like he's costing us games and shit. People are saying like if we run it back with this team is not void of talent. This team has fucking talent. If you get, Salah wasn't a good fucking coach. We gave him plenty of time to become a good coach. I think Salah's worse than him as a coach. I think he's putting too much on his plate. Um, so if you get quality coaches, you're going to get better play from these players. They're not void of talent. And Aaron Rodgers is not washed. If he throws 30 touchdowns and 15 interceptions for the year, that's not bad. That's good Aaron Rodgers. That's not great Aaron Rodgers. That's good. Like, if they run it back, I'm not upset about that. If Rodgers was fucking throwing 15 touchdowns and 30 interceptions, and you're saying, yeah, let's bring him back, I'm going to fucking throw up. But they're not losing because of him. They're not void of talent. You can get a real coach. Just say Vrabel. I think Vrabel will maximize everybody's fucking talent here. Put them in the right positions. Maybe he has fucking Sauce follow the number one. Whatever. There's things maybe he plays guys that should be playing and fucking guys after guys like Kinlaw. He's like, you know what? Fuck that. I don't want to see him on the field anymore. He's just a fucking liability. Like, so coaching does matter. The narrative about Woody and Rodgers and this whole Jets team and coaches wanting to come here, they're going to come here. They're going to have players. You're going to get free agents. If you have to overpay, fucking you overpay. The Jets won't be the first team to overpay for fucking people to come there. Money talks, though. And there's a cap. So everybody's everybody can't go to one team. I don't know. I'm just, that's how I look at it.
I just don't think a coach is going to want to come here seeing that his immediate future is a 40-year-old quarterback right now. And if you guys are winning that, he doesn't really have the assets to move up to get the QB he wants in either draft. That's just my opinion. Like a coach,
Yeah, but that's a huge assumption on your
I
part.
mean, a coach coming in is going to want his old guys, right? Like,
That's a fact.
But who says he can't have them though?
but if you guys win, it's harder for him to get his own QB.
So if you're telling me a coach comes here and wins, that's bad
Well,
because he
he's
doesn't
not going
get
to
to
be here
have his
this season,
guy.
right? So you're gonna say you run a table this season, right?
Where,
He
that
okay.
that from your mouth to God's ears. But go ahead.
I'm just going off the consensus here from because the schedule weakens up a little bit,
If the Jets run the table, Ulbrich is your coach. Is the coach.
and that's terrible.
The Jets run the table. He's not going anywhere.
But
Fucking Ulbrich.
but like
That's a bad thing.
a
That
coach is
might be the problem.
a coach is gonna want
Exactly.
a coach, especially.
Hold on a second. If Ulbrich runs the table, Jeff fans aren't going to be like, well, listen, goddamn, the guy won fucking eight in a row and got us to the playoffs, and you're going to say,
Well, you just said that the general manager made a bad decision keeping Salah. So is it a bad decision to keep Auburn too if he's already making bad decisions? And Mike
well,
Vrabel's
yeah,
probably
but
going to go to
if you're,
Las Vegas, to be honest with you.
but
You think
if
so?
you're saying just to say if the Jets run the table, that kind of
His
changes
buddy's
things,
the
though.
owner now.
Yeah, the
Yes,
Jets run
sir,
the
but
table. The Jets run the table. You're keeping Chris Greer. You're keeping Jeff Ulbrich, and now the problem stays for Joe
You
Douglas,
mean
not
Joe
Chris
So you
Greer.
mean
Douglas?
Joe
I mean
Douglas?
Joe
Joe,
Douglas. I'm
yeah.
sorry, Joe Douglas.
Oh, you said Chris Grid.
Well,
I
but
Damn.
mean,
but all
they're
right,
the same. They're the
Woo!
same.
but
They're
but
the
wait,
same.
It's kind
God
of the
Jarek,
damn.
same situation.
Jarek
It's
and
just
Justin, you guys just bring up a good point though. Now, what happens? Let's. Sorry, I'm going to switch the subject here. Jim, you're all fired up. Good fucking morning to you too, Jarek. If they,
What's up, motherfucker?
if they, Justin and Jarek, if Miami goes, 5-12, 6-11, do you think Greer deserves to come back?
Greer,
And
no,
Greer been had.
Oh
He
hell
hold
no,
on,
he
he's
had
he's
listen.
hell
gone.
he
no.
So
He's
wait.
he
gone.
So
was
if
supposed to been fired.
if he's gone, then why would somebody want to go to Miami where they're keeping McDaniel?
I
Why
think
won't they get their own choice of coach?
I don't think McDaniel. Because that Chris Greer was his. I mean, his decision was to get Mike McDaniel. That was his
yeah,
Right.
decision.
that was his
They'll go
decision.
together, Petey.
They're
So
out of
Yeah,
you
there.
think
They're both out of
McDaniel's
there
going to get
together.
both of them are
fired
gone.
after what happened with Tua
Yeah,
again?
Yeah, they're
yes,
gone.
yeah.
They're both
He'll be
gone.
fired with him,
Yeah,
Petey. Yeah, he's out of there. If Greer
I
goes,
told you that.
McDaniel goes.
Wow.
They're gone. Like
But
like
let's
that
put a
that's gonna
scenario
be
to
a
that.
legitimate tear down. That's gonna be a legitimate tear down.
Yeah,
Cause
Petey. Yeah, like the reason why they brought in McDaniel was specifically for like that team was built around Tua. The way that they performed, the way that they played, the personnel on offense for skill position players were literally it fits. Well, let me take this out. Literally fits Tua's skill set.
Those, I mean, the same exact players, the same exact caliber of players he had at Alabama are the exact same players. The speedy receivers, fast running backs, offensive line from size. What sort of offensive lineman fits their blocking scheme? I mean, literally that team was made for Tua.
The Dolphins, sorry to cut you off, bro, but
no, you good. Go ahead.
The Dolphins, like, they're in a worse situation than a lot of
Way
teams.
worse.
Like, they have $189,000 in cap space next year, and that's with a $20 million rollover. Like, that's going to be complete tear
Wait, how
down.
much is it?
That's why they had.
$189,000.
They are broke.
They are broke.
That's what I
That's
was
why
saying
they
to
had
you,
the
Petey,
urgency
earlier in the
to keep
space when I was
Tua
talking
in
to
there.
Charles. I said they're blowing it up.
Yeah,
There's
that's
a chance that they
complete.
let it go today. There's a chance that Tyreek Hill is not in a Dolphins uniform today.
Look at why they have no money.
Because
They got
they went all
they got
in over a couple
right.
years. They kept
They,
going
they,
all
they,
in.
They knew they had a
quarterback
chance.
Well,
quarterback
right now, wait.
55 million.
Yeah, right.
Wide receiver
June.
35 million. Other wide
Yeah,
receiver 28 million. Come on, like, yo, this what
they have. Okay, they have. It says they have 5 million now,
Hmm.
and then next year it says they have 4 million.
I'm on Spot Track right
All
now,
right,
and
I'm on over the
and
cap,
it
but
shows
okay.
189,218 for next year, and that's with a $1
Oh,
million rollover from this year.
bro, in 2026, I'm looking. They have 13
They're
million
dead.
dollars in cap space. That's crazy.
Yeah,
They're
I know they
roasted.
can move on from Chubb and Armstead.
That's
they're
because they just extended Tua, and so that money's all backloaded.
they're in cap hell, so they're gonna do a complete blow up. That's like,
They can't restructure their quarterback, Petey. So that, I
yeah,
mean, right where you're looking at is where it's at. They've already restructured Hill. That's why it'll be easy to move on from him. But there's going to be players today that'll have the option to take concessions, right? So there's players like Adam Thielen. He's due 6 million and then 5 next year. So there's going to be owners that may want to take a role on him and say, hey, we want to do that, but will the player make a concession and restructure, because that's what's going to need to happen. Whereas that's why I was telling you guys earlier with your team, you're not in that cap hell just yet. You're really not. I mean, as long
That's
as you as
why I
long as
think
you
they're
run
going
it
to
with
run it back.
Rodgers, as long as Rodgers is there. Let me preface that. If
Yep.
Rodgers is there, you're not. Now, if Rodgers leaves, that creates a whole different turmoil situation.
Correct.
Yeah, because they have liquidable leverage in Miami right now, right? Isn't that what you would consider it? Like they can liquidate and
That's
still have
exactly what
pretty
it is.
strong leverage.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. That's a great term.
Yeah, they're sitting strong, but not good, right? Like they're sitting strong. They
Yeah.
got players on the board, but they're not very good, if at all good right
They have a
now.
losing hand in poker, but they can fold right now and recoup. Not lose anything to the pot. But they
Yeah.
need
Yeah,
they need they need to fold, and if they don't fold, that's what I'm saying. Today's a very big day for the Dolphins.
Yep.
I'm looking
Guys,
at.
real quick.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
I'm gonna end the space 20 minutes early today. I got a lot to do. I'm busy today. Thank you guys for coming up. And the listeners, thank you. Again, we're doing shorts on YouTube now, Jets Commute. If you can, check it out, we'd appreciate it. And guys, I don't thank you guys enough, but you guys strive this, whether it's Jarek, I don't care if you're not a Jet fan. Justin, Sherm, you guys are all, in here a lot. I appreciate it. As always, June, Hector, who just started speaking in here. If you don't come up and speak, it's okay, but come up. I'm wrong on my takes. I do this every day. I'm wrong. I don't give a shit. I like talking to other fans. I'm not the voice of the Jet fans. I'm one of them. We're all fans, and this is really cool, what we do here. So, I'm just happy to be able to, talk to you guys on a regular. June, you want to say something?
shout out to Neat. We want you up next time. We're gonna give you a mic tomorrow.
Yeah, Neek's been in CB's room, so I'm
Yeah.
sure CB will be on later. Guys, again, if you can subscribe to YouTube, we'd appreciate it.
Chris,
And
what's up?
Chris is in here.
Saul.
Whittle, Bill Fawn, Big Haas, T, what up?
T, what up, T?
Sad Jack Calendar, Steven.
Stephen A. Sanchez. What's up?
Where is Hexagon?
He's here. He listening.
Hexagon, I have an intro for you tomorrow. So we got some new things brewing. June, I didn't get to the intro today. So should I get to the intro?
No.
All right.
No. Save it for
Guys,
tomorrow.
Jeremy, Justin, are you guys opening?
I have to make my way to the office, but I think James has a space scheduled.
Yeah,
What,
yeah,
at
he
10,
got his
10
space.
o'clock?
He just hit me
Yeah,
up.
All right. Oh, James Cook, Thomas?
James Thomas. Yeah.
JT,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'll
he
be
got
in there, all right? I got to run, guys. Have a great day.
All right, you too.
Ciao.
Love and respect
June, thank
everybody.
you.
Have a great one.
All right, office, you too.
Closing words.
Tear it down.
Tear it down.
Tear it down.
Bye-bye.